April 1944. A man in a dark suit stands in a lecture hall in Zurich, Switzerland. His hand rests near his coat pocket, inches away from a hidden pistol. As he listens to the speaker, his mind races through complex physics equations. If the speaker mentions specific atomic research, this former baseball player has orders to shoot him dead. This wasn't just any American spy. Just months earlier, he was Mo Berg, catching fastballs in Major League Baseball. His baseball card showed a simple catcher for the Boston Red Sox, but that baseball card hid an unbelievable truth. Mo Berg was living two completely different lives. In one life, he played 15 seasons in baseball's major leagues. In his other life, he was one of America's top spies during World War II. He went from throwing out base runners to stopping Hitler's atomic bomb program. How does a baseball player become a spy? The answer lies in one of the strangest and most amazing stories you've never heard. This is the tale of a man who spoke 7 languages but joked he couldn't hit in any of them. A Jewish genius who went from Princeton University to professional baseball, and then from baseball diamonds to secret war missions. The real Mo Berg was nothing like what people thought. Behind his catcher's mask was one of the most mysterious men in baseball history. And today, we're going to uncover the truth about the baseball player who became America's secret weapon. Mo Berg's story begins in 1902 in a small apartment in New York City. His parents, who came to America from Ukraine, wanted their children to live the American dream. But they probably never guessed their son would shape American history in such an unusual way. Even as a young boy, Mo was different. While other kids played in the streets, he sat for hours reading books. His mind was like a sponge. He remembered everything he read. At dinner, he would surprise his family by reciting entire newspaper articles word for word. His father wanted him to focus only on studying, but young Mo had other ideas. He loved baseball, so he kept his baseball glove hidden under his bed and would sneak out to play. He'd practice throwing against walls for hours, dreaming of becoming a baseball player while his father thought he was at the library studying. At Newark High School, Mo showed he could do it all. He became the school's top student and star athlete. He spoke perfect Latin and Greek, solved complex math problems, and still found time to be the best shortstop in the state. When he gave his graduation speech as class valedictorian, his baseball teammates sat in the crowd, cheering him on. Then came Princeton University in 1919. Most people would find Princeton hard enough on its own, but not Mo. He studied 7 languages: Latin, Greek, French, Spanish, Italian, German, and Sanskrit. He played shortstop on the baseball team. He got top grades in his classes. His classmates couldn't figure him out. Here was this Jewish kid from a poor family, beating rich students in both sports and studies. But Mo wasn't done. While playing professional baseball, he went to Columbia Law School. Think about that. He was catching 9 innings in the major leagues, then going home to study complex law books at night. He passed the bar exam and became a lawyer, though he never really practiced law. Baseball and his future secret life had different plans for him. What drove Mo to push himself so hard? Maybe it was his father's strict focus on education. Maybe it was being a Jewish kid in a time when many doors were closed to Jewish Americans. Or maybe he just couldn't help it. His brain needed constant challenges the way his body needed baseball. Looking back now, we can see how these early years shaped him perfectly for his future secret life. His amazing memory, his gift for languages, his ability to fit in anywhere, from a baseball dugout to a college classroom. Without knowing it, young Mo Berg was training to become the perfect spy. In 1923, Mo Berg stepped onto a Major League Baseball field for the first time. For the next 15 years, he would play for 5 different teams. But baseball was only part of what made Mo special. In fact, his teammates started calling him Professor, and it wasn't just because he went to Princeton. Picture a baseball dugout in the 1920s. While other players talked about the game or read comic books, Mo sat quietly reading newspapers in French, German, Spanish, and Japanese. Between innings, he would chat with foreign players in their own languages. One day he'd discuss Italian politics with a teammate. The next day he'd explain quantum physics to a puzzled coach. But here's the funny thing about Mo. He wasn't actually a great baseball player. He was smart enough to be a genius and knew enough languages to work at the United Nations, but he wasn't very good at hitting a baseball. He once joked, "I can speak 7 languages, but I can't hit in any of them." His real value was as a backup catcher, someone who understood the game deeply and could help younger players. Then came 1934. and a moment that would change everything. The US sent a group of all-star baseball players to Japan for some friendly games. Mo Berg was picked to go, not because he was the best player, but because he spoke Japanese. While the other players just played baseball and had fun, Mo was doing something very different. One day during the trip, Mo put on a kimono and snuck away from his team. He went to the top of the tallest hospital in Tokyo. Hidden under his clothes was a camera. While pretending to be a tourist, he filmed the harbor, the shipyards, and the city. Nobody knew it then, but these films would later help American bombers during World War II. His teammates never really understood him. They saw a strange man who would rather read books than party, who knew more about world politics than batting averages. Sometimes he would disappear for days without explanation. He kept to himself, never married, and lived in hotels during baseball season. It was like he was preparing for a life where being invisible was a good thing. Looking back, those 15 years in baseball weren't just about sports for Mo Berg. They were perfect training for his next job. As a backup catcher, he learned to watch everything and remember every detail. Speaking different languages helped him blend in anywhere. Being good, but not too famous, meant people often forgot he was there. Exactly what a spy needs. The baseball world had no idea that their strange, smart catcher was about to trade his baseball mitt for something much more dangerous. World War II was coming, and America needed people who could outsmart the enemy. They needed someone who could think fast, speak many languages, and keep big secrets. They needed Mo Berg. By 1939, as war spread across Europe, Mo Berg hung up his baseball uniform for the last time. But while his baseball career was ending, his most important job was about to begin. The same day Pearl Harbor was attacked, the phone in Mo's apartment rang. The voice on the other end asked him to come to Washington, D.C. immediately. Those secret films he took in Japan years ago, American military leaders needed them now. They showed important targets that no other American had managed to photograph. Suddenly, that strange trip to the hospital roof made perfect sense. The government had big plans for Mo. They saw something special in this former baseball player. He was brilliant, spoke many languages, and most importantly, no one would suspect him. After all, who would think a baseball catcher could be a spy? The Office of Strategic Services, America's first spy agency, sent Mo to a secret training camp. The man who once trained to catch fastballs now learned very different skills. How to use a gun, how to send secret messages, how to escape if caught by the enemy. His years of traveling with baseball teams had taught him how to blend in anywhere. Now he would use that skill to stay alive. But Mo wasn't just any spy. The OSS gave him one of the most important jobs of the entire war. The Germans were trying to build an atomic bomb, and America needed to know how close they were. One mistake could change the course of history. They needed someone smart enough to understand atomic physics, smooth enough to move through Nazi-occupied Europe, and brave enough to risk everything. They needed Mo Berg. For the kid who once hid his baseball glove from his father, hiding his true identity now came naturally. The baseball player who read physics books in the dugout was about to use that knowledge to help save the world. As Mo packed his bags for Europe, he had no idea that his most dangerous game was just beginning. The year was 1944. The same hands that once caught baseballs now held fake papers and hidden weapons. Mo Berg, former baseball player, was deep behind enemy lines in Europe. His first big mission took him to Italy. The Germans were retreating, but they were destroying everything as they left. America needed to know which Italian scientists might be helping Hitler build an atomic bomb. Mo went from city to city, meeting with scientists in secret. He spoke perfect Italian. No one guessed he was American. When he found scientists who wanted to escape the Nazis, he helped them get to safety. But his most dangerous mission was yet to come. The OSS had learned that Werner Heisenberg, Germany's top nuclear scientist, was giving a lecture in Switzerland. They needed to know, was Heisenberg close to building an atomic bomb? Mo sat in that lecture hall in Zurich, dressed like a Swiss student. In his pocket was a pistol. His orders were clear. If Heisenberg said anything that proved Germany was close to getting the bomb, Mo had to shoot him right there. The former catcher who once had to make split-second decisions about stealing bases now had to make a split-second decision about stopping Hitler's atomic program. As Heisenberg spoke, Mo's brain worked overtime. He understood the complex physics. He caught every word in German. But most importantly, he noticed what Heisenberg didn't say. After the lecture, Mo's report was clear. Germany was nowhere near building an atomic bomb. His baseball-trained eye for detail had just helped America make one of the biggest decisions of the war. Then came the parachute drops into Yugoslavia. Mo, now in his 40s, jumped out of planes into darkness. He met with resistance fighters in mountains and forests. Sometimes he had to talk his way past German patrols. His old skill of staying calm under pressure, like when bases were loaded in the 9th inning, now kept him alive. In Paris, just after it was freed from the Nazis, Mo did something that showed why he was such a special spy. He went to the opera, but he wasn't there for the music. In the crowd, he spotted German officers trying to hide among French citizens. Because he spoke perfect French and German, he could tell who was really French and who was pretending. That night, the baseball player helped capture several high-ranking Nazi officers. Every mission was a high-stakes game, but this time, Mo wasn't playing for a baseball team. He was playing for the future of the world. The quiet catcher who once kept opposing teams from stealing bases was now stopping Hitler from stealing the deadliest weapon ever made. When World War II ended, Mo Berg faced his toughest challenge yet: living a normal life. The man who had lived two amazing lives, as a baseball player and a spy, now struggled to find his place in peacetime America. The government offered him more spy work, but Mo said no. Maybe he'd seen enough danger. Maybe he'd kept too many secrets. He tried living with his brother Samuel, but that didn't work out. The same man who once moved easily through Nazi-occupied Europe now had trouble just paying his rent. Mo started spending his days in public libraries, reading newspapers for hours, just like he used to do in baseball dugouts. When people recognized him and asked what he was doing now, he'd smile and say, "I'm still keeping secrets." Some thought he was joking. He wasn't. When asked about his spy missions, Mo would change the subject to baseball. When asked about baseball, he'd rather talk about books. The man who once spoke 7 languages grew quieter with each passing year. He lived in small apartments and hotels, carrying a leather briefcase full of old papers that he never let anyone see. His old baseball friends tried to help. They offered him jobs as a coach or scout. But Mo always said no. How could he go back to baseball after everything he'd seen and done? The games didn't seem important anymore. Not after you've helped stop Hitler's atomic bomb program. In his last years, when money ran out, his sister Ethel took him in. Even then, Mo kept his secrets. When reporters came asking questions about his spy days, he'd say, "I'd rather talk about baseball." When they asked about baseball, he'd say, "I'd rather talk about Einstein." He died in 1972, taking most of his secrets with him. Today, Mo Berg's baseball card hangs in the CIA Museum in Washington. It's the only baseball card there. His medal from the OSS is in the Baseball Hall of Fame. It's the only spy medal there. Even after his death, Mo Berg continues to be one of a kind. Some people say Mo Berg wasted his genius. Why didn't he become a famous professor or lawyer? Why spend 15 years as a backup catcher? But they miss the point. Without those years in baseball, he might never have become the perfect spy when his country needed him most. In the end, Mo Berg was exactly what America needed him to be, a walking contradiction that confused our enemies. A baseball player who spoke 7 languages, a Jewish kid from New York who looked so natural in Nazi Germany, a backup catcher who helped win World War II. His gravestone reads simply, Morris Berg, professor, linguist, lawyer, baseball player, spy. But perhaps the best description of Mo Berg came from a fellow spy who once said, "In baseball, Mo Berg was known for his brains. In intelligence, he was known for his baseball career. He was brilliant at staying invisible in plain sight." Sometimes the biggest heroes are the ones we never notice, the ones who spend their lives being overlooked, underestimated, and misunderstood. Mo Berg was one of those heroes. The baseball world saw him as the odd, smart catcher who read too many books. The spy world knew him as the baseball player who helped save the world. But the real Mo Berg was something more. He was proof that heroes don't always look like what we expect. In his own words, Mo once said, "Maybe I'm not in the Baseball Hall of Fame like other players, but I'm in a better Hall of Fame." He never explained what he meant. Like so much about Mo Berg, it remained a mystery. Today, when you visit the Baseball Hall of Fame in Cooperstown, you'll find something strange, a spy medal in a case full of baseball memorabilia. And if you visit the CIA Museum, you'll find something just as odd, a baseball card in a room full of spy gear. These two small items tell the story of a man who lived two completely different lives and excelled at keeping both secret. Mo Berg's greatest achievement wasn't in baseball or spying. It was proving that we should never judge people by what we think they should be. The backup catcher with a law degree, the Jewish spy in Nazi Germany, the quiet hero who helped win a war. In the end, maybe that's why Mo Berg's story still fascinates us today. In a world that tries to put everyone in a box, Mo Berg refused to fit in any box. He was exactly who he needed to be, exactly when his country needed him to be it. And somewhere, maybe Mo Berg is smiling about the fact that we're still trying to figure him out.